we first saw them, they were part of the Brood and the Gangrel presentation, and were vampires and the Lost Boys and that whole thing. But this comedy angle, we've heard a
Yeah.
lot that Brian was their writer, and this was home run stuff,
Yeah.
classic stuff. But I've also heard the expression, Jim, funny don't draw money. Where do you land on that? And what did you think of this pivot to seeing a more comedic version of Edge and Christian?
I can't argue the fact that sometimes money doesn't draw, or funny doesn't draw money. It's a little bit of a crapshoot. Now, some guys are much better at it than others, and therefore their stuff works. Their humor makes you laugh, but you can go overboard with it without question. But when they hooked up with Brian Gewirtz, that was a big get for them. That was a great relationship. They liked each other. They all on the same page. They made each other laugh, and they were having fun. So they did a great job. That was a good move for them. As smart as anything, really affiliating with Brian Gewirtz for Edge and Christian was the best thing that they could do for their career at that time by far.
What's interesting too is once they become funny, I think they needed a harder edge. You know, they are the heels, so you don't
Yeah.
want them to become accidental baby faces.
All right.
They debut the Conchairto, a double chair attack on the baby faces. What'd you think of that Conchairto? That's a pretty wild visual, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It looks deadly, and it is deadly if gone an inch here, an inch there, and if things ain't pretty. It kind of even things out. It kind of even things out. But still, when you make me laugh and you entertain me with your sophomore humor, I have a hard time disliking you. I don't care if they hit him with two sledgehammers out of Triple H's toolbox. It's just, I don't know. So I don't know. The heel thing I thought was adversely affected by all the humor that they did because they were damned entertaining. So how can I stay mad or get mad at someone that makes me laugh? It's it's just it's a crime against nature.
Well,
So
what's not a crime against nature is Maddie, Mr. Marijuana. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you coming and sitting under the black hat with JR tonight, live on a Wednesday night. He says JR equals the GOAT, the voice of my generation. Thank you. It's got to make you feel good, the voice of your
well,
generation.
it never gets old. So at this stage in my life, God bless you, Conrad. At this stage in my life, I really appreciate those type of things, and that's why I enjoy going to these. And Bull, if you got it handy to put those graphics up for those two appearances, back up. You did a good job. There they are. That's what I'm doing the next my next two appearances. I'm working on a deal to go to England, uh, and or UK, I should say, in January. So I'll keep you informed on that deal. There's no ink. Ink is not dried on the paper yet. So, but it looks like that could happen. So my point I was going to make was I love meeting the fans because selfishly it gives me a chance to hear that kind of dialogue. And who wouldn't want to hear something good, nice in their life? So it means a lot.
Well, what really meant a lot was the TLC match at SummerSlam 2000. Of course, there was a boatload of plunder after WrestleMania that year, but we're going to run it back. Tables, ladders, and chairs with the Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian at SummerSlam. And this one was spectacular. Believe it or not, Jeff actually went into the match with a bad ankle. They go 14 minutes and 51 seconds with all kinds of sensational spots. And Meltzer said this will no doubt get a lot of match of the year votes. There's one spot where Jeff is outside the ring, leaping off a 15-foot ladder with a swanton. He's going for Bubba, who moves, and Jeff just crashes and burns through the table. Christian's doing a reverse DDT on Matt, high off the ladder. Bubba's climbing. He gets tipped off and flies out to 4 tables he'd set up. Edge is spearing Lita. I mean, it's pretty crazy when we see Edge and Christian pulling the ladder away as Devon and Matt are climbing it. The finish sees Devon and Matt kicking at each other, holding onto the straps. Devon takes the first big bump. Edge and Christian then hit Matt with the ladder, and he takes the bump. They've got the straps. Edge and Christian's are your tag champs again, 4.5 stars later. Man, these are car crashes, but people can't get enough, right?
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of some of the contests tonight on Dynamite. Those guys worked really, really hard. If you get a chance, folks, if you haven't seen the show, I won't tip it off too much. It was a good show. And if you like wrestling, it was a really good show. The fact that there were finishes, clean finishes, clean in the sense that they were not a DQ or a count out. There were skullduggery along the way, but that's just pro wrestling. But yeah, I think that those guys tonight went above and beyond the call. The Jericho tag match was physical as hell, nasty physical. But it was a good match. I thought that Penelope Ford and Chris Statlander had a hell of a match. I noticed that Statlander's hair looks like Moolah's back in the day, kind of an orangish red and frizzy, like, you might want to buy some conditioner, honey. But I would never say that because that's not politically correct. I'm just saying if I said something like that, and I would never say anything like that. So you get the drift.
What else is on your mind tonight, JR?
Well, I really like to sell some barbecue sauce tonight, Conrad.
Tell us about it.
At jrsbbq.com, the store that never closes, costs nothing to look. What a beautiful graphic that is. I've been ordering, I think, what is it called? Uber Eats, maybe. And I get barbecue about twice a week because I can get smoked meat and turkey and it's healthy, blah, blah, blah. But I generally always get baked beans or barbecue beans. And I always add a little seasoning, a little personality to them with our barbecue sauce. Difference in night and day. So that's what I had tonight, as a matter of fact. I love this barbecue sauce. It just reminds me of home and Jan and my mom and all that. It's kind of it's hard to explain. But there was their motivation and idea to get this barbecue thing started. And Stephen Link does a great job of running it for me. I don't know what we'd do without him, but he's a hell of a guy. He's the first guy that got back to me when the tornado blew my fence over last week. That was chaotic. So now it's about a $10,000 fix. It never ends as a homeowner. I wish I rented a trailer someplace.
Well, we can make that happen.